basketball is bringing the big bucks to the capital city. I'll take a look at the economic impact.
And I'll have all your sports coverage, including highlights from the basketball state tournament. This and more live on Star City News.
This is Star City News, live at 5.
Welcome to Star City News. I'm David Gass.
And I'm Kelsey Murphy. It's state basketball season, and the teams aren't the only ones looking forward to scoring big.
Star City's Dustin Hoffman looked at the economic benefits of the tournament.
Nebraska High School State Championships are going, and the revenue is worth fighting over. Right now, as we go, the state basketball is underway and bringing people with it.
Estimated Husker game football weekends are about a $4 million economic impact. So you look at state high school sports over 2 weekends at 5.2, it does have a significant impact. So it is big business for us.
Last year, state basketball for girls and boys had an attendance of 141,000 per the NSAA. This revenue makes state championships something that is coveted by cities. Omaha recently won the bid to keep wrestling in the CenturyLink Center.
We took a look at Pinnacle Bank Arena for wrestling. We didn't have enough back-of-house space for warm-ups and weigh-ins. The arena itself was perfect. I think we built the facility just right for every kind of event, but some of the back-of-house things weren't just quite as big as what they get in Omaha.
A few things factor into the expected increase in state basketball revenue.
Well, you have lower gas prices, you have much better weather compared to other years. This is the first year where we haven't had a snowstorm or some sort of measurable precipitation in recent memory. It makes a big deal.
They expect revenue this year to be much higher based on last year's attendance. For Star City News, I'm Dustin Hoffman.
A Lincoln resident came home to find a man digging through his vehicle, a discovery that led to an arrest. A 25-year-old Michael Morgan of Lincoln was found stealing from a car near 27th and South Street. Police say Morgan fled the scene when the owner arrived to the vehicle, but he failed to get away. Police found Morgan just blocks away with an array of stolen goods, in addition to oxycodone. Morgan was arrested for larceny, trespassing, possession of stolen property, and possession of a controlled substance.
A new drink is causing controversy, but it's not the beverage itself, it's how you drink it. It's called Palcohol, a powdered alcoholic beverage. It turns into liquid just by adding water. Now, despite approval, several states are already banning it. They fear people will snort the substance instead of drinking it. The company Lipsmart hopes to start selling products like powdered cosmopolitans, margaritas, and rum and vodka as soon as this summer.
I'm for Sync Wow. Coming up after the break, I'll have full highlights of the first day of men's basketball. And also a story to share about one team that's made its way back into the tournament after 21 years. We'll be right back.
Two officers were shot during an ambush outside the Ferguson Police Department early this morning. This shooting occurred just moments after a crowd dispersed from a protest for the resignation of Ferguson Police Chief Tom Jackson. One officer was shot in the eye, the other in his shoulder. According to Police Chief John Belmar, the officers saw the shots coming.
When they heard the shots and when they heard the bullets singing past, that they saw muzzle flashes. But these muzzle flashes were probably about 125 yards away. Many officers drew their weapons, but no officers fired.
Officers are expected to survive their injuries. As of now, there are no suspects in custody.
Just because this stop sign is not on the corner of an intersection does not make it optional. Star City's Doug Lowry has more on the statistics about this traffic violation.
Stop arms are equipped to school buses so that children can safely enter and exit the bus, but they're only as effective as the vehicles around them allow them to be.
LPS Transportation says that there is currently an epidemic of people driving past school buses while the stop arm is deployed.
I had 85 drivers document how many cars went through a stop arm in one day. And the 85 drivers came back with a total number of 230 cars.
In one day?
In one day.
Though Lincoln hasn't had an accident at a school bus stop since the late 80s, it is still considered the most dangerous time for students traveling to and from school.
National statistics by far say the actual place the injuries and the deaths happen is getting off and on a school bus.
Drivers have no excuse for passing a school bus with the stop arm deployed, no matter how fast or slow they're going.
Depends on where we're at in town. It can vary from, you know, creeping on by, thinking they're going to be okay because they're going slow, to just blowing on by it, not even paying attention.
LPS Transportation will push this message in the fall at the beginning of the new school year.
Now, Doug, what is the fine if you get caught passing a school bus with a deployed stop arm?
Which is a pretty high price to pay when you consider the short amount of time you'd actually be sitting behind the bus. So it's really not worth it to be going around the stop arms. That's going to do it for me. I'm Doug Lowry reporting from the newsroom. Let's send it back into the studio to David and Kelsey.
So, David, this is a big weekend here for sports with the basketball tournament. Are you following it much?
You know, not so much, but I did hear a lot about those boys from Winnebago. Do you think we'll have another Cinderella story on our hands?
You know, I'm not keeping up with it much either, but I bet Amsley Sankbile has more on the story.
There's been some breaking news today. The #1 seed and undefeated Norfolk just got upset by Northeast. Final score was 61-43. And that's not the only madness that happened today. After watching from the stands for 21 years, the Winnebago basketball team has made its way back into the state tournament. The boys went 24-1 on the season and played earlier today, dominating the court, beating Wahoo 66-50. This is the first game that the boys have won in 75 years. They play again tomorrow against Grand Island Central Catholic. Tomorrow. Now let's go and look at some Class B highlights from earlier today. The Outers beat Plattsmouth in the early game. Check out this three. The Tigers got out to an early start and held that, beating the Blue Devils 56-36. The afternoon game was a bit closer. Sydney beat Scottsbluff 65-63. Both teams were really hot today. Now the Husker baseball team is now 9-6 on the season after beating the Northern Colorado Bears 9-2. Senior Blake Headley crushed a pair of triples, and 7 different Huskers had runs batted in. They powered the team over the Bears. The pitching staff threw 9 strikeouts on the day, only giving up 6 hits. The Huskers will take the field again tomorrow, opening a 3-game series against Florida Gulf Coast. The first pitch is for 4:05. Now moving on from one field to the next, spring practice is in full swing for the Nebraska football team. The boys practiced in full pads just yesterday for the first time, and they are still doing the split practice that Riley has enforced this year. Now, Riley did have some concern when he was making these new adjustments, but says that everything's going pretty well and he likes the enthusiasm at practice. Riley says, I think it's going on pretty well. There's always some frustration for the coaches and for the players when it doesn't quite click all the time, but both the players and the coaches are handling the newness pretty well. Now that's all we have for sports. Let's go back to David and Kelsey.
I can't believe this weather today. I mean, I've been cooped up inside all day, but I really haven't got a chance to go out and enjoy it.
I know, it's hard being inside when all you want to do is be outside, but hopefully this weekend we can get some time to be outside with some nicer weather. After the break, we're going to check in with Emily and see what we can expect this weekend.
From 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. this evening, Lancaster County, along with much of central and eastern parts of Nebraska, are in a fire weather warning. This is mostly because of our low humidity, high winds, and our warm temperatures. That creates favorable environments for brush and grass fires across the land. I talked to Battalion Chief Benish about some safety tips.
And you might ask how one of these fires could start if it's an unattended grill or somebody disposes of a smoking material inappropriately. We have an opportunity, even more so now that all the snow and ice is gone, to have dry conditions and for those fuel loads to be ignited and create a fire.
For Star City Weather, I'm Audra Moore. Emily Lockenmeyer will have your full report after the break.
And now, a look at the forecast with Star City Weather.
Good evening and welcome back. Let's take a look at your current temperatures outside here in the Star City. 76 degrees. It is breezy outside. Those winds southwest 20 to 25 miles an hour, gusts up to 30 plus miles per hour. So make sure if you're ventured out this evening, you're putting those rocks in your pockets. Looking at the almanac for the day, 27 degrees was our low for today, just dead even with that average temperature, but our high 76 degrees, 20 plus degrees above our average, so we're definitely getting to enjoy this spring-like weather that we've had the past couple days. Looking at the temperatures across the state, 73 degrees up in Valentine, 69 in North Platte, and 63 down in Hill City. And as we head out east, you'll see that we got 75 here in Hebron, 76 in Columbus, and 75 up in Sioux City. If we take a look at our fire watch map here, you'll see that most of eastern Nebraska is actually in a fire weather watch currently and red flag warnings. As Audra said, make sure you're taking safety precautions in an effort to avoid any unwanted light ups. Looking at our hourly temperatures here, 74 degrees come 6 p.m., cooling down to 56 degrees come midnight. Definitely not bad temperatures there. And as we head into 6 a.m., 42 degrees. As we look into our tonight, 41 will be our low. Those winds will die down a little bit, but they'll still be 10 to 15 miles per hour. As we look into tomorrow, 69 degrees and sunny for the day. Southwest winds again there. We'll have 50 come 9 a.m., be warming up to that high come 3 p.m., and then we'll be dropping down to 61 come 6 p.m. So it'll be nice for your commute home. Looking at our week ahead here, 65 on Saturday, 71 on Sunday, and breezy. It'll be a nice weekend if you plan to head out to those Husker baseball games. And as we head into next work week, we're going to see a cold front coming through, dropping our temperatures down into the 50s, and we'll have a slight chance for rain come next Thursday. But decent temperatures, and it looks like they'll be sticking around for a while, although we have to keep in mind winter isn't over yet. For Star City Weather, I'm Emily Lockemer. Back to you, Kelsey and David.
Now, speaking of weather, it's not only people who want to be outside. Lincoln Parks and Recreation are trying to improve dog parks, and they need your help. City officials want to add more parks and update the existing ones like Rickman and Oak Creek Dog Run. Here is how you can help. The public is encouraged to take this survey and leave comments about the improvements such as more fresh drinking water for animals. The survey will be online with the results for the rest of the month, and the plan will be proposed mid-summer.
2 Secret Service agents are under investigation for crashing a government vehicle into the White House barricades. Officials confirmed that both officers were intoxicated. Police at the scene attempted to conduct a sobriety test and arrest agents, but were instructed by superiors to send them home. An agency spokesman confirmed that an investigation is underway, stating that if misconduct is identified, appropriate action will be taken.
David, I'm really interested to see how the rest of the story is going to play out.
Definitely. I mean, it is in our nation's capital, so I'm sure they'll get it squared away.
Now, speaking of news and politic news, there's big stories in making headlines, and Ingrid Holmquist is going to check out with our own election results.
Welcome to U News. I'm Ingrid Holmquist with your university news for the day. Yesterday, many student government hopefuls found out their future in ASUN for the upcoming term. After a glitch in polling kept voting open for an extra hour, the two parties, Launch and Empower, waited at separate locations to receive the call. In the end, the Empower party secured the overall victory, but despite Empower's win, the Senate seats ended up fairly equal between parties. 13 of the 38 available Senate seats went to Launch candidates. This election was the third highest voter turnout in election history for ASUN, with 18.5% of student voters. Paying off student loans could get easier. The White House sent out a press release saying President Obama signed a memorandum that would help those with student loans afford monthly payments. The president said in the press release that today a college degree is the surest ticket to the middle class and beyond. The key is getting a job and to have good income. The Student Bill of Rights will help everyone be able to afford a college experience. After the long-standing Innocence Senior Honor Society was accused of hazing last week, administration came out deeming the organization innocent. Many people were worked up when they saw a video on the Daily Nebraskan of the Innocents tackling students after they were accepted into the organization. However, University President and Honorary Innocence member Harvey Perlman said the Innocence Act of tackling doesn't fit the definition of hazing. He says hazing is defined as any activity by which a person intentionally or recklessly endangers the physical or mental health of an individual for the purpose of initiation into a student organization. This has been Ingrid Holmquist with your University News for the day. Back to you, Kelsey and David.
So Kelsey, if this whole noose thing doesn't work out for you, do you see a spot for yourself in the circus?
You know, David, I'm terrified of heights. I don't think I can grow a beard, and to be honest, clowns terrify me.
Well, good thing you weren't there today. One of our own Star City reporters turned into a ringmaster at the Shrine Circus. Rachel Hofstra gives us an inside look at the event's new home.
I'm here at the 70th annual Shrine Circus, but you might notice something unusual. We are not at the Pershing Center. This is the first time the circus is being held at the Lancaster Event Center. The circus has been at the Pershing for as long as people can remember, and moving from one venue to another was not the easiest task. Keith Plummer tells us some of the adjustments the circus had to make.
The ceiling height is a little different, so they actually had to rig their riggings from the floor. So they're not quite as high with the trapeze and a couple of things like that. But
Not only did some of the equipment change, but the animals were in for a change as well.
from here, they're on dirt. It's much better for the animals. They like it a lot better. Access is a lot easier in and out the doors here. So all the animals, they really like it a lot better here.
The venue switch is taking some time to get used to. For the animals, the employees, and even the guests are adjusting to the change.
Well, parking is easier, that's for sure. Kind of interested to see how the circus goes in a smaller building like this.
The owner plans to keep the event here for the foreseeable future.
Not a whole lot has changed since they moved the circus from the Pershing to the Lancaster Event Center. In fact, there's 7 more shows if you want to check it out. But I gotta run because I'm about to be the ringmaster for the first show.
Welcome to the 70th annual Shrine Circus. Have an amazing time and let the show begin.
Thanks, Rachel. It looks like you did great introducing that show. It sounds like a lot of fun. After the break, Brent Bonfleur sits down with the local hip-hop artist Screwface John.
SCRUFACEJEA.
Welcome back to Star City News. Gas prices are going up again. Yesterday, Nebraska's Revenue Committee passed the proposed tax bill. The new bill will raise the tax 6 cents per gallon over the next 4 years, bringing the total up to 31.6 cents. The increase will be used to pay for bridges and road improvements.
So Kelsey, what kind of music are you listening to when you're driving around town?
You know, I'm not too picky. The only thing I try to steer clear of is country. It's not my personal style.
I don't blame you.
What kind of music are you into?
A little bit of everything. But one thing, there's nothing I love more than seeing a local hip-hop artist getting the attention he deserves. There's a guy by the name of Screwface John that's done more than pay his dues. Brent Bonfleur has more on the story.
Hey there, I'm Brent Bonfleur, and I've got your local and national entertainment headlines. Starting off here in Lincoln, I caught up with a Nebraska rapper who's hitting the road and hitting stages all across the country. He goes by Screwface John, and he's one of the hottest rap acts around. He's currently gearing up for a 23-state tour, but the Lincoln native made sure he didn't forget the people he says gave him his start. The kickoff show is March 17th at Vega, and the show begins at 9 o'clock that night. After audiences crowded theaters to see Bradley Cooper play war hero Chris Kyle in American Sniper, Hollywood is headed back to the front lines. Reese Witherspoon is set to star as Ashley White, one of the first female American soldiers to see combat overseas. White was 24 years old when she was killed by an improvised explosive device in 2011 while serving in Afghanistan. She was posthumously awarded several honors, including a Purple Heart. Do you remember in HBO's hit show Breaking Bad when Walter White tries to make up with his wife by bringing her a pizza but winds up tossing it on the roof instead? Turns out he's not the only one. The show's creator, Vince Gilligan, had to tell people to knock it off after several pizzas were similarly flung onto the roof of the actual house in Arizona. Apparently, the elderly couple that's been living in the house for over 40 years didn't appreciate it either. Personally, I wouldn't mind the free food, but I can see how that might get annoying. So, what about you guys, David, Kelsey? What would you do if you got home and saw people had thrown pizza on your roof?
I mean, personally, I'd crack open a couple 2-liters and have myself a pizza party. I mean, what are our options here?
Well, you know, for me, it all depends on the type of pizza. Are we talking meat lovers, vegetarian, hand-tossed, thin crust? These are all things you seriously need to take into account.
Definitely. Well, speaking of accounts, let's toss it over to John Kipper and see what's trending on social media.
What's happening, everybody? I'm John Kipper, letting you all know what's going on in Twitter sphere. Baseball fans in Southern Arizona were given a treat today as comedic actor Will Ferrell showed up to play for 10 different ball clubs, ranging from my favorite team, the Seattle Mariners, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. This obviously blew up social media, but he didn't just do it for a publicity stunt. He's teaming up with the MLB and HBO to produce a special to pay homage to baseball legend Bert Campaneris, who's fighting cancer. All profits the Step Brothers star gets from the show will go to cancer research. Interestingly enough, Ferrell is going to play shortstop, pitcher, left field, and all the other 10 positions in between. Personally, I'm curious to see how he does catching a major league curveball. Now, Ferrell had to be focused for this entire day of baseball, so he could not take media requests before his first spring training game. He was so focused that, in his word, he was in beast mode. Will Ferrell is truly the man. The hit animated film Frozen captured kids and adults' minds everywhere, raising over $1 billion internationally. So it really should come as no surprise that Disney announced today that there will be a Frozen 2. The sequel has no release date, plot, or much of anything yet. But we do know that stars Kristen Bell and Josh Gad will yet again be voicing their characters, Anna and Olaf. There's also still no word on if Idina Menzel will be giving a sequel to her hit song Let It Go, but this reporter sure hopes so. That's all I have from cyberspace today. Now I'm going to throw the reins back over to Kelsey and David.
All right, we're going to take one more look at our weather with a few final updates we have for you this evening.
Well, if we take a look back at our 7-day forecast here, we'll see that 69 tomorrow, 65 into Saturday, 71 into Sunday. Those winds will be up on Sunday, so we'll definitely have a nice weekend if you want to head out and about. And as we look into next work week here, 68 on Monday and a cold front moving through on Tuesday into Wednesday and Thursday, possibly bringing some showers for us next week, which will definitely help with that fire danger we're currently experiencing. So make sure that you're enjoying these temperatures while we have them, because winter is still around. For your Star City weather, I'm Emily Lockermere. Back to you, Kelsey and David.
All right, well, we apologize for the that Screwface portion of the show not airing earlier, but we'll make sure to get that on our Facebook page. Thanks a lot for watching tonight.
That's all we have for us, and be sure to check us out on our Facebook, Twitter, and keep up with us on all forms of social media so you constantly know what's happening with Star City News.